My questions are to sport integrity. Mr. Sharp, could you briefly explain the rules around testing for athletes, as in who is eligible and who is required?
Thanks, Senator, for your question. They're quite broad, but our focus is on international level and national level athletes from a testing perspective. We can test lower.
You can test lower?
We can, but our focus and our policy is where there's an absence of education at a lower level in the first instance. We wouldn't be testing unless there was specific intelligence that would suggest we need to take a facilitator or someone out of sport.
Okay, so your focus is on international
and national level.
National, okay, thank you. Can you explain why athletes that are tested are prohibited from private testing?
From
private testing?
Private testing, they're not prohibited from private testing.
So they can go and test themselves?
Absolutely. Sports do have illicit policies where they'll conduct testing around that, which is separate to our agency. Mm-hmm. But athletes, if they felt they needed to, would not be prevented from doing that.
Thank you. What is the efficacy of hair follicle testing for steroids?
We don't do hair follicle testing.
Because it's not efficacious?
We just don't do it, because it's we follow the World Anti-Doping Code, and it's not a part of the code.
Thank you. Are you aware of the Defence Force's exemption from their testing regimes for competitive athletes that are in the Australian Defence Force?
No, I'm not aware, Senator.
Should Defence be making you aware of any suspicions of doping?
I think that's a matter for Defence, and we'd certainly be willing to work with Defence if it related to a sporting event that was under a policy, anti-doping policy.
So I take it then that they have not made you aware of any event?
No, they have not, Senator.
Okay. How would you action it if they did make you aware?
It would depend on whether the sport is a registered sport in this country and under an anti-doping policy, whether they participate in those sports or not.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's the end of my questions.
Thank you, Senator Roberts.